Welcome back here for another edition of our Talk It Out session presented by VERB. We are your presented by VERB. We are your hosts, Aaron Tate, Adrian Poe. Have my lovely wife, Monique Tate, behind the scenes helping us with our comments today. Everybody say hello to your future selves. All right, so if you've caught our other videos, then you know we like to pick a specific topic and discuss it surrounding, different social issues or things that we deal with on a daily basis. We like to have different questions that we like to pose about the topic, and we like to give you guys a chance to comment as well and ask your questions also. So don't forget to comment and ask questions. And yeah, this should be an interesting conversation. Would you like to introduce the topic today?
All right, so today we're going to be discussing the concept around how sometimes or some people feel as though they're obligated to someone based on their title as opposed to deciding to deal with that person based on their actions. And this is all inclusive, whether it be child, mother, father, cousin, uncle, aunt, anyone. So I think today is going to be a very informative Talk It Out session because this concept, I feel, is rooted in a lot of toxic parenting. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Are we ready for questions?
Bro, I don't see no comments popping up. Oh, okay.
It will eventually.
You want me to go to their house and tell them, hey?
No, because usually you could say, like, wave to people. Oh, okay.
So, Monique.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay. That's how we do it. That's cool.
Are these questions not for Adrian as well?
Okay. Whoa, you went in real fast. So you didn't even try to slide in the DM. You just, hey. Okay.
Since we don't have many people tuning in yet, so I would like to direct some of these questions to you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So in the past, or even now, where would you draw the line at how much you were there for a friend? When it comes to a friendship or your friends in the past, where did you draw the line at when you decided to be there for them?
Okay. I've always been the type to always be there for my friends, whether it be any time, any day, whether it be night, whatever.
Speak to the mic, please.
I'm sure they can hear me, but okay.
It's better if it's close.
Okay. So I don't feel like I had many boundaries when it came to my friendships.
But so I guess somebody's joining. So I guess what my question is there anything that your friends could have done that would have caused you to decide to no longer be there for them?
Pride, like, I don't know, talk behind my back or betray me in any way. I don't know.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what he's asking is there anything that your friends could have done that you would not have been a part of or helped them with? Is that what you're trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like murder somebody.
Right, I was gonna say murder,
Right.
rob a bank.
Okay. So as long as you don't end up in jail, you're comfortable with doing anything your friend needs you to do.
Right.
So you don't feel obligated to help them in any situation off the strength that they're your friends, right?
Right.
You feel like you always had a choice on whether you decided to be there for them or not. It just so happened that you choose to be there for them.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, when it came to your family, mom and sisters and brothers, is there a line drawn is there a line drawn where you would choose to be there for them? Or is there anything that they could do that you decide that you wouldn't want to be a part of?
Back then, before I know what I know now,
Back then.
Yeah, it was family over everything.
So you'll help your family catch a body. That's a yes.
Yeah.
What? You can't be admitting murder online.
All right. So when it comes to your friends, when it comes to your family versus your friends, whereas with your friends you felt like you always had a choice in whether you decided to be there for them or not. With your family, you always felt obligated to be there for them, regardless of the situation.
Correct.
So what do you feel like the difference was between your friends and your family?
Family's your blood. You share a bond with them that you don't share with your friends.
Okay.
I have a question. So the defining line between what you'll be willing to do for family and what you'll be willing to do for friend is simply blood. Meaning, since we share the same blood, I will cross any line for you.
Right.
Cool. So, based on that,
I'm not gonna wait.
family doesn't have any standards to uphold to you as a person. They can do whatever they want to you, but as long as they got the same blood, you still gonna ride or die.
Right. That's how I used to think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So before we continue, for our people that are just joining in, so we want to get your thoughts on this as well. Where do you draw the line with being there for your friends, and where do you draw the line with being there for your family? Would you do, is there anything your friends can do that you decide that you wouldn't be there for them or wouldn't partake in or assist them with? And is there anything your family can do that you would decide that you wouldn't help them or assist them with that as well? We want your thoughts. So when it came to how you view family, is that something that was instilled in you growing up, or do you feel like that was something that you automatically just kind of like came that was an automatic conclusion you came to on your own, or what? Like, is that something that your mom taught you? Your mom taught you? What was it that she would say?
Family or everything?
Yeah,
Blood
FOE.
is thicker than water?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this.
I think we had somebody comment something.
Yeah, we do got a comment.
Up.
Couple comments.
Going up.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
So TT Gibbs said, I have friends that I would ride for before some family.
I agree.
Latoya Marie Wallace said,
Hey, Toya. Okay.
I don't feel obligated to do anything for anyone, family or friend. TT Gibbs also said, as a matter of fact, I'm with family now that aren't my blood, that mean a lot to me, and this is where my husband and I spend Christmas.
Cool. I can agree with all those things.
Waving, please. So back then.
Down a little bit. There you go.
So back then, name something that your friend can do, but besides extreme like murder, robbing, like just what we would consider normal stuff, like you mentioned, talking behind your back, or I don't know,
Some sort of betrayal.
some sort of betrayal, right? So someone you would consider a friend could, let's say, talk behind your back, and that could be like a deal breaker for you with them, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say someone like your sister, who you share blood with, can also talk behind your back, but that wouldn't be a deal breaker for you back then.
No.
And it's only because blood.
Right.
Just a little plasma, a little DNA. That liquid gives family
so much more
passage to trample on you, and you just have to be okay with it.
That's wild.
So I have a question. I'm glad you said that. So do you believe that you can be closer to a friend who does not share direct blood than family?
Yeah.
So why the two can't cross the line then? If you agree that you can be closer to a friend than you can to a family member, then why doesn't the friend get the same caveat as dogging you out and you coming on back like the family do?
For me, I just feel like family will always be there. A friend can,
But that can't be true with this statement that I just made. If family will always be there, then how does a friend become closer than family? Both of those statements can't be true at the same time. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I need another reason. Because that doesn't hold up in this scenario.
There's not no reason.
Thank you. Thank you.
So basically the point is society has perpetuated this idea that we are obligated to those that we quote unquote share a bloodline with, regardless of anything else surrounding y'all's situation. Like he stated, you can be as close as possible with friends or people who you don't share a bloodline with, but yet you would still put them below someone who you do share a bloodline with, but may not have a stronger connection with than you do as with your friends, which is kind of unfair, because by that standard, you're basically saying your family can dog you out, your family can piss on your grave, talk behind your back, take your ex, talk to your ex, do whatever, and yet you would still go back and run to them, or they can run to you for anything, and you will always be there for them, basically enabling their bad behavior. And that's messed up to me. You know what I mean? Like for me, I'll speak on my personal experience. I've always felt closer to my friends than I do my family. Because one, I'm usually spending more time with my friends than my family anyway. Two, there was a period of time where I did feel like I was evolving as a man and as a person in general. And throughout that evolution, my family had a hard time understanding my evolution or understanding the changes that I was going through. And I didn't feel fully accepted for who I was. But the people I could turn to were my friends. Mm-hmm. The people I could turn to were the people who were willing to listen to my evolution or bear witness to my evolution and try their best to understand and accept my evolution. Therefore, as a result, I became closer to them and more interested in spending my time with them than I did my family. Now, you mean to tell me the people who accept me for who I am the most
don't got a chance.
Can't get that same energy that my family is obligated to get, quote unquote? That's not right to me. Like if I feel obligated to my family off the strength of blood alone, plasma. You mean they can't
get it?
They can't, like my friends have put in the work that is required to build and cultivate this connection that we have. My family ain't got to do nothing, but yet I still got to give them a kidney if they need it. Like that's not fair to me. And this idea that blood trumps everything, like I said, is just unfair. Like, 'cause again, you can have a family member who treats you horribly or does things that you wouldn't otherwise agree with, but because they share bloodline, you're now saying it's okay. And you may not necessarily verbalize that it's okay, but your actions are saying that it's okay for them to continue to be that, because regardless, you're my family, I have to be there for you. Mm-hmm. So this idea that we're obligated to those that we share bloodline with, yet we're not allowing anything else to factor into what we decide to do for them, that's not fair to those who do put in that work to, like I said, cultivate that connection with you, but yet they can't get that same energy that we would give our family. And I feel like that's something that needs to be updated. That's the kind of software that needs to be updated.
Got a comment?
Yeah,
got a couple of them.
So I don't know if I'm saying this right. Darion, he says, I try to choose friends that are positive, goes for family too. But if you're true friends, blood should not be the factor.
Right. Definitely not.
TT Gibbs said, the friend that I'm with now, we have had somewhat of a falling out before, but because of our true friendship, we rekindled our friendship, and now we are now closer than any of my family that I've had something similar happen. I have since addressed the issue with family, blood, that I'm closer with my friend.
So I feel like there's a lot of contributing factors to why this is the way it is. For your situation, and I share the same experience with family. One, they find it hard to see you outside of what they birthed. So they feel like they have rights of entitlement because they raised you. But I think most parents forget that you didn't ask to be here. So I don't owe you anything based on creative entitlement rights because I was doing fine in the atmosphere. You see what I'm saying? And I hate when parents approach their kids as if they owe you something because you brought them into the world. And toxic statements like, I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. Well, I didn't ask to be here. Now what? Because when you remove that I didn't ask to be here, it puts both of us on a playing field to you show me a certain level of respect, and then I in turn learn that from you, and I will give you that when I get older. But if you dog me out while I'm young and hide it under the guise of I'm the parent, I'm your family, I'll always be here, I can basically do you how I want to do you. When I get older, I'm going to believe this foolishness, and now I'm being dogged out by my family members, and they're putting in no work, but I got 3 or 4 friends that's there regardless, accept me, there for me, all that, and they don't have a chance of competing with my family? No, I don't believe that, and I know for a fact this whole entitlement, this family first crap starts with parents because they teach children this. Statements such as family over everything, blood is thicker than water. The materialistic value of blood being thicker than water doesn't justify you dogging me out and me coming back to you. Where we start correlating those two things because it sounds good, that's foolishness. That's like saying, oh, because a Big Mac is thicker than a salad, Big Macs are better. What? That makes no sense in any other avenue of life. But because I want to make sure I can do you how I want to do you under the guise of we share the same blood, that's foolishness. Like, that's beyond me. And I've always been closer to my friends than my family for the same reason. And this is not to throw shade, because the thing is, we're pulling the responsibility to be human from our family. Because we're putting requirements of you have to treat me with respect, you have to value me, you have to put energy into me. All of these things I require of you in order to maintain a friendship. But you telling me my brother can do whatever he want and I'm going to still be, you know what I'm saying, closer to him?
Yeah.
Nah, that's foolishness. That makes no sense at all.
TT Gibbs said, me personally, it's not only unfair, but it's also overrated to consider blood thicker than water. She also said, this is good. I agree.
That statement, like the fact that we've coined that as a excuse to let family use us, and we're literally talking about materials. Water is a substance, right? Blood is a substance. So you're basically comparing two materials to justify how I can do you how I want to do you, and you should be okay with it. Like, that don't even make sense.
And then, like, another scenario that can debunk the whole blood is thicker than water. People are adopted every day, right? So if anyone is adopted into your family, then obviously they are not of the same bloodline.
Exactly.
But because they were adopted into the family, you consider them to be family, right? So it's possible to consider people who we do not share the same bloodline with just as much family as those who we do share the same bloodline with. So this whole blood is thicker than water, that we can't keep using that because of scenarios that debunk that whole idea. Like we say, we've always felt closer bonds with our friends. I consider my friends as much my family as anybody else.
I really consider some of my family my friends, and my friend is my actual family. So we ain't even gonna get into that.
So it's like, if you do have that familial bond with someone who you don't share a bloodline with, then how come they can't get that same level of obligation as someone who does share that bloodline with? So this whole, I think the mindset surrounding friends and family needs to change, and we need to start basing it off of like we mentioned before, the work that is put in to cultivate this relationship. Are you putting in the same amount of time as I am to, check up on you every day, or to listen and try and understand who you are and accept you for who you are? Like, am I doing my best to love you as best as I can and be there for you in the capacity that I'm able to, without affecting me terribly? And
thank you for that.
Terrible,
you,
right?
you definitely affect me.
Right, you can affect me, but
not terrible. I can deal with it.
Right, we need to start. I don't want to say judging people, but we need to start going off of having those prerequisites instead of just one people over here. The only prerequisite they need is blood, but over here they need
all these
things.
Yeah. But my family got to do that.
Right, we need to merge them together and make it one. Everybody needs to have this prerequisite.
Another toxic statement that perpetuates this idea is, "Oh, you can choose your friends, you can't choose your family." That's a lie. What? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I have.
What does that even mean? I can choose both of y'all. So this is what I was thinking about on the way over here. The only way you are obligated to bloodline is if you're dependent upon that bloodline. The moment where you break free, such as move out on your own, pay your own bill, taking care of your own self, you then can decide friend and family. But as long as you're under the direct connection to your mom, so you living with her, she paying your bill, taking care of you, you are now obligated because you can't self-sustain. And that's only by material rights, such as you need food, you need water. It's really, I hate to call it an obligation, but based on natural surviving instincts, like I'm not going to be living with my mom and go home and punch her in the face because like I got to...
That's going to mess up my living
situation. So don't think that my obligation is based on bloodline. It's really based on the natural instincts that I have to survive.
Yeah.
But once I'm disconnected, it depends on all of these things that Aaron just named. If my mom met those requirements, we can rock together. If you did not, you're cut off. And mothers try to make, or fathers too, try to make children feel bad. Oh, you don't check on me. When did we talk when I was in the house? Mm-hmm. Well, you, I'm still your mom. Where was that energy when I was living there? Well, you ought to come visit sometime. I have a house as well now. It's like they think that because I birthed you, you owe me. And my line is always, I didn't ask to be here. Because for me, that statement rips all of that off and it reveals that you need to have some qualities. And if you don't meet these qualities, I will see you on the other side. Like, parents got to do better. Like, it's your job to not comply to your child, but you need to realize if you don't put the work in that these people friends put in, when that child gets older and disconnect from you, you have to reassess, well, what did I really do? And you're going to realize most of these older parents that believe these statements, they just gone off and forgot about me. Well, you didn't give me anything to remember. Well, that's still your mom, okay? But if my friend did that, she gonna get cut off. So if my mom did it, she gonna get cut off. You have to be a human to me, just like I gotta be to you. And that's just it at the end of the day. It's a lot of toxic statements, man.
Let's read some comments.
Yes.
Are you reading all of them?
I am.
Scroll up for me. Just do one quick scroll. Make sure you got them all.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so TT Gibbs said, family will be the first to stab you in the back. She put in parentheses, my keyboard literally finished this statement. Even it knows.
Even my phone.
Oh, no. They feel entitled, so they think they can do you any type of way.
Yeah. Kathy Wright. Everyone say hi to Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. Oh, we ain't seen. We heard from Kathy in a minute.
She says, I am closer to my friends than my family members because my friends tell me what's going on in their family life and pray with me and check on me weekly versus my family keeping deep family secrets or they would judge me on things. I would share with them instead of praying with them and loving. I would share with them instead of praying with me and loving me through my issues. I always spend a lot of time with my friends versus family members whom I might see on holidays only. Tiffany Pierce said, I went through a time where I was really bad off on drugs and was on the streets and my family shunned me, but my friends were always the ones checking on me. My parents said that as long as I was doing that then they wanted nothing to do with me. My
wild,
friends
bro.
called and made my mom take me to rehab. But now I'm better. They want me to do exactly what they want me to do.
That's wild, son.
So I think there's something interesting that you mentioned earlier when you talked about the only way we're obligated to family is if you're directly dependent on them, specifically growing up. So do you think that obligation can go for friends? So for instance, if there are things, so let's take you and me, for example. We can be obligated to each other because there are things that you provide that you allow me access to that allows me to be who I am. And then there's things that I provide that I allow you access to that allows you to be who you are, which allows for this friendship to work. So I think that same obligation that can be given to family who you are directly dependent on can be given to friends who you require specific things from that all right, as long as I'm doing my part as a friend, then I have continual access to those things that I require of you or to those things that I like to get from you that allow this friendship to work. How do you feel about that?
So the difference with it is, I agree, but the difference with my obligation to you and your obligation to me is not
dependent upon
dictatorship.
Oh, yeah.
See, when parents do it, it's you can get out. And I don't have anywhere to go. I can't get a job. I don't have a driver's license. I can't provide for myself. So the intentions behind the presentation of that obligation is evil intent. I can think of things that you give me access to that I never have to mention. You never have to mention. It's a known connection there, which proves why the friends are often closer because I don't have a dictator mindset to say, well, I know that I allow Aaron this, this, and this, and without me, he'll have a hard time getting it, so I'm going to hold that over your head. That's what parents do. That's what family do. I'm your uncle. When they say stuff like that, it's like, I'm your uncle. You got that uncle. Everybody got that uncle. Your mama be like, you tell her the other thing, and be like, well, I'm still your mama. That don't erase the stuff I just told you that you doing to me, though. Yeah. So we never have done that. Like, I never even considered doing that to you because I understand that it's a mutual agreement. But because parents and family members have this blood is thicker than water, family gonna always be there, you can choose your friend but not your family, these statements have intertwined in the thinking. So now it's like, I really don't care how you feel, I'm your mama. Ma'am, you toxic. Like, okay, prime example. Say I have a child and my mom smokes cigarettes. Mm-hmm. My wife already has asthma. I understand that asthma contributes to, your lungs. Mm-hmm. And my mom say, well, you ain't gotta keep my grandchild from me. I'm still his grandma. Hold it. let's do some evaluating now. I don't let my friends smoke around my child, which means I have a standard, right?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me simply because you're my mother, I'm supposed to bring my child to you and let you possibly put his life in danger off the strength of, I'm your mama, I'm your uncle. I don't care nothing about that. Like it's not logical because the same concept we're applying to family, it don't work nowhere else. So outside of plasma, what is giving these family members this much entitlement? And it's the condition of this dictatorship, parenthood, where you want your children to be these little robots, and because you don't know how to be a human or desensitize yourself to the fact that, dang, yes, this is my 16, 18-year-old daughter, and I need to show her respect. I need to uphold these things that I'm requiring of her, but forget that, I'm your mama. Ma'am, when I get out this house, I'm never coming back. And parents wonder why they family do that. Like, you don't never come visit. I didn't want to be here when I was birthed in here. Shoot. Yeah. Let's be honest, man.
So Monique, does there one more comment?
Oh yeah, I was Tiffany Pierce. She says I was 17 years old when she went through that.
Well, we're definitely glad that you made it out, and I'm so glad that blood is not thicker than water. I'm so glad that you can choose your friends and family because those people in your life help change your life. And if family was all you had to depend on, you may not have been on this live today. So we definitely glad that you had some friends.
Absolutely. So Monique, so would you say now you don't feel as obligated to your family as you used to?
Correct.
Can you say that truthfully?
Yes.
So you have reached a point where your family, there are now things or a line that you can draw when it comes to your family where you would decide it's not best for you to be there for them or to aid them in whatever it is that they're trying to do. Correct?
Yes.
When did you come to this realization? 24 hours ago.
Was it yesterday?
24 hours ago.
It's a work in progress.
A work in progress.
I like
if I'm
that.
being honest.
So is it safe to say that in order to update this mentality, we need to remove the statements like blood is thicker than water, you can choose your friends, not your family, I'm your mom, I brought you into the world, I'll take you out. If we move all that out the way.
I'm your uncle.
Yeah, I'm your uncle. We move that stuff out the way. Is it safe to use the scale of how have you been treating me? Because that scale can be used universally. Mm-hmm. It's a disadvantage for your mom because nobody else in the world can say I'm your mom. Right. But if we move that from her, she falls under the same scale as, how did you treat me? Mm-hmm. Well, you didn't show me no attention. We never talked about anything. I practically raised myself. You bought me clothes and you fed me. You gave me a place to stay. But, I mean, the government can do that. So, with the government my mom too? So, is it safe to say the new scale of picking family and friend should solely be based on the actions and the energy that person brings towards you? Yeah. And if you're not bringing it, or you're not matching the energy that I want to have, then regardless of your title, you can't stay in my life. Cool.
You got another comment?
No.
You had a question?
When did y'all come to this realization?
So for me, I came to this realization, I think I've always kind of known it subconsciously, but it became more conscious around the time, like I said, I was evolving. So that was around 18, 19 years old. I want to say 18. That's when I started evolving as a person in terms of growing spiritually, mentally, whatever the case was. And now, one thing I can say that a lot of the changes that I was making was outside looking in. They were big changes for the people who knew me previously.
You see why they were like, bruh, chill.
Yeah, like I can understand why they may have been taken aback by some of the changes that I made. So at the very least, I can understand that. But at the same time, these are the same changes that my friends had to endure as well. And my friends didn't have as hard a time accepting those changes as my family did. So it was around that time, 18 years old, when I was when those changes or that evolution was coming about, where it became from subconscious to conscious. Like, wow, my friends are really like who I would like go to war with. You know what I mean? My friends are really those who I feel more of a familiar bond with, because these are the people I'm spending the most time with, building with, connecting with, getting to understand them as much as they're understanding me, and us accepting each other for who we are without all of that, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, this ain't who you are, whoop-de-whoop, that I was getting from my family at the time. So it was around 18, 19 for me.
So for me, it was when I was 21. I had got strung out on drugs, and like at the time, I blamed my family before I realized that was still my decision. So I'm going to talk from the terms of at the time. My family had did something to me, and I left my mom's house and like started doing drugs. And I realized like Like, I thought y'all, I had that mentality, like, family gonna always be there, they ain't gonna never do nothing to hurt you. It's like, but you hurt me, though.
Yeah.
Like, how did you hurt me and your family? And I drew a line then, like, okay, you did that, so let me evaluate other stuff. And to be honest, my wife, my current wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, became the paradigm that I used to make that assessment. I was like, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my brother, my aunts and uncles, all of y'all, I'm your uncle, all y'all got out on me. But my wife, who was my girlfriend,
We're gonna make that a shirt.
yeah, I'm your uncle. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she never violated me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Swanner ain't never crossed son. Like, it blew my mind that my entire family, like, sliced me in half. I'm like, on drugs. And, like, Swanner ain't never violated me. And I'm like, you from New York, son.
You ain't even
from down here. And it clicked, like, oh, all them statements I brought up, that ain't true. That's just stuff y'all are using so that when you do me like this, I'm going to come on back. Like, no, bruh. So now, legit, my wife is the standard that I use to gauge everybody with. Like, the qualities that I identify her snatching my mind, like, if you don't meet these standards that she don't put up with, we just can't. I'm talking mama, daddy, brother, all y'all, we just can't. And that's okay, because I got her. It's okay. Yeah, it was 21 for me. 21. I realized, like, this ain't that. This is not that. And I, too, went through the same thing. Once I got off drugs, thank you, God, I started evolving into the person that everybody know me as now. And it was like, they was there to support me, but it was kind of like, I see why they were like, bro, where you?
This ain't you now.
And family have the hardest time because they see your image that they birthed. Mm-hmm. Whether it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, all of them. They see this person, and it's like, you're always supposed to look like this.
Or at the very least, you've always been this
so you should
for
be
18, 20, 19, 20 years. So it is hard to unlearn what they've seen you grow up to be.
And not to get all, spiritual, but like Jesus went through the same thing. Like Jesus said, I went to my family and they didn't receive me. So this is a principle. Like, family have the hardest time accepting the version of you that you're becoming. And that's why most of y'all get cut off, because y'all can't understand. Update your software, bro.
Just update it, yo.
Just
software.
Update it. But you know the family members that do accept you?
Who?
Those who have made a change as well. It's really the family members that ain't made no drastic change that find the hardest time seeing you doing it, because it's kind of like a slap in the face. Yeah. But think about, like, we have family members who we don't watch go from A to B, and they be like, I'm proud of you. I understand where you're coming from. But you ain't got but like 2 or 3 of them out of the whole family that done did that. So
everybody else is stuck in their ways.
Yeah, they're stuck in their way.
That's tough. I think we got a comment.
Tawanda said, when he say uncle.
I'm your uncle.
I'm your uncle.
Maybe you want to make sure I'm your uncle. Like, you need to know. Go give me some chips. I ain't not giving you chips. I'm your uncle. Hey, man. Shoot. Why you always asking for stuff?
Terrell Moses says, sometimes cutting people off helps them grow into a better person.
True.
That
is true.
You didn't hit that on the head.
I can relate to that.
Bruh. Yes. Oh. So another reason, another reason why we decided to discuss this topic is the decision to be there for family out of obligation, regardless of how they treat you or whatever actions that they're committing. If those actions may be to their detriment, continuously being there for them can, in some ways or a lot of ways, enable that bad behavior. Mm-hmm. So if they know that regardless of what I do, I can go shoot somebody, rob somebody, I can talk to your ex or stab you, talk about you behind your back. if I pick up the phone and tell you to come, you will always be there. So that's not giving me any reason to decide to change my behavior. Because as long as you're being there for me, what's the problem? Like, obviously, there's not an issue.
That's gonna be there,
right? But we're not doing that for friends. The moment a friend does that, we decide to cut them off. So when it comes to friends may be a little bit more motivated to make a change or to decide to say, "Hey, I was wrong. That's not something that I want to continue to do," to make sure that we're able to stay friends. So I think it's important for people to realize that whole family is always going to be there. Saying that is only enabling their bad behavior. It's almost like it's saying, okay, well, it's okay for you to be who you are because I'm always going to be there for you. Or I'm never going to give you a reason to have to change or to want to be better or to evolve in order to make sure that this is a continual growing relationship. And that's such a big problem.
You know what's crazy? If we sit down and think about like these statements, it gets really contradictory. Mm-hmm. You know what kept me? Well, they say family is always gonna be there, right? I'm your mama, I'm your uncle, right? Do you know what kept me out of jail? My mama told me when I was younger, if you go to jail, don't call me. When I tell you, I thought about that every single time I was in a situation where I felt like I could go to jail, and my mama number was the only number that I remember. Mm-hmm. And I know I ain't gonna have my phone. Who I'm supposed to call? So the fact that I won't have you there when I perform a evil or a bad action kept me from performing that action. So if she would have kept giving me that, well, if you go to jail, son, just call me, I'll get you out. It would have made it okay for me to do that. So the concept of you possibly not being there is a greater concept to have than you're always going to be there. Because it doesn't perpetuate the idea, well, I can go do what I want to do and somebody going to come get me. I kid you not. I don't know how old I was, but I got to make sure I tell you the same thing. Because every single time I was in a situation where I felt like I could have went to jail, I heard my mama say, don't call me. Baby, we can't do this. I ain't got nobody else to call. Don't worry about it. I ain't got nobody to call.
And I know 90% of us in the world, the only number you can remember by heart these days is your mom's number. The only number I remember is and my brother's number.
That was before a time we got all the technology.
Yeah.
Like it's in there.
So these days, bro, can't play with it.
Don't call me. Then we got to tell a family friend, don't call me.
So in other words, if you want to influence a change or influence someone to change or to turn away from their bad behavior, you take away the thing that they're most dependent on, which is you always being there for them or providing them with the help that they need should they need it, right? No, go ahead.
I have a prime example of that. I got a friend and I love her. 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving my house if my wife is okay with that and I'm headed there. But we went through a cycle for years. Her husband just, dogging her out, doing her wrong, running her over with the car while she's pregnant, just stuff. It was crazy. And I would never forget, and by no means is what I'm about to say promoting divorce, but I just got to tell you the story. She called me all the time, and I'm there for her every time. They've been going on for years. She called me one morning. I just want to go on for that morning. I said, look, we cool. I love you to death, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. But this conversation, we not having no more. About a week later, my girl left that and she gone and living her best life. I'm not saying that I was the one who pushed her. I'm not saying that I magically made her do anything. But I honestly feel like when she realized that dang, somebody who's always been there for me is not going to be there in this specific area, I got to do something now. Mm-hmm. But as long as every time she called, I was there to make sure she was straight, and I'm beating her back up, and she go let him beat her back down, we probably would have still been in that cycle. And it really hurt me to have to tell her that, but I just wasn't going for it that day. Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm going to be there, but if this is the conversation that we're going to have, I don't want to hit it. And me and her still cool to this day, but she gone.
Yeah.
It worked out. Sometimes you got to I'm going to cut that off.
Yeah. So Terrell Moses said, I love you, but you need to grow up. That's how it needs to be delivered.
For real. I'm talking mama, daddy, I'm your uncle, all of them. All of them got to get it.
He also said, what is the difference between spoiling a child versus being there when they need it?
We'll deal with that in another video.
You want to touch on it real quick?
We'll deal with that in another video. That's a whole nother topic.
Kathy Wright said, my family are not close, but want me to put a family up in my house because they lost their home. My cousin, her husband, and 2 kids. First of all, COVID is real, and I'm not trying to have
That's number one.
company like that.
That's number one.
I don't mind giving money to them, but that is as far as I will go.
Folks realize, like, will not mess with you your whole life and then be like, oh, well, that's your family. I don't even know them. I don't care nothing about that.
What side? What side of the family?
I was like, bro, you couldn't have thought.
Terrell Moses said, I think he meant to say you should to make doing
But
another
that
video.
it's gonna go down a whole nother. It's a lot of little subcategories I want to hit with that, and I got to deal with parents, like grandparents, all that.
Yeah,
so.
I think he's meaning you should do a video.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do a video about that.
And that's it on the comments right now.
So far we've learned that any prerequisite that we have for friends needs to be given to family as well. In other words, everybody needs to fall under the same umbrella to have to meet these certain requirements or prerequisites in order for me to be obligated to be there for you no matter what. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, that's not to say that there can't be a cutoff point should the help or the assistance or being there for that person become detrimental for yourself. I think that needs to be...
Everybody get a cutoff point though. Like friend and family get a cutoff point.
Right. I think that needs to be addressed as well.
Me and my mom relationship became better when I told her the guidelines. Like before we had a talk, she had the concept of, well, you should text me. And I'm like, your phone work the same way mine do. Mm-hmm. And most people may consider that disrespectful because they feel like, you owe her something. But if you think about, I didn't ask to be here. I don't owe you anything. I'm your responsibility. Big difference. And like after me and my mom had a conversation, like she texts me sometimes, I text her sometimes. And it's not a one-sided thing. It's your phone works just like mine do. Right. I have a family just like you do. And like our relationship now is so much better than it was when I was under that dictatorship. Because now it's like, okay, we both got to make a conscious decision to have a relationship. Yeah. It's not, oh, you owe me a relationship because I birthed you. Didn't ask to be here. All right. So we good.
Terrell Moses said, I had to learn not to take the word no personally.
Oh, yes.
That's enough.
I'll never forget when my homeboy, the first one told me no. When I tell you he hurt my soul, we gotta do that in another video. Man, I'll never forget that. And it was something simple. I asked him for. My boy said no. Ooh, anybody never told me no. What?
That, bruh.
What?
Bruh, that's another video. Yeah. we gonna have to address that, bro.
Terrell said amen.
Man.
Any other questions you may have?
No.
Are you sure? So what are you going to do? Well, let's say this. Have you had has there ever been a time where you had a decision to make in terms of deciding that it may be time to cut such and such off as it pertains to your family, or to not necessarily be there for them like you normally would have been?
Yeah.
How tough of a decision was that for you?
It was real tough because I was in that same mentality, like that's my mom or that's my sister. I need to be there. And personally, I'm still working on that.
It's
like,
hard to swallow.
It is.
Like you gotta get that down.
Get some water.
It comes back up like as a reflex sometimes.
Yeah.
Settle. There's been moments where my family members have needed something, and like I was finna have that. This my family's like, what?
Go back down.
Let me settle. Let me make the best decision, because I don't think we realize that we're putting ourselves in a position to help others based on nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, these people really contribute nothing to your well-being, so you're going in the negative to make sure they still look positive. And that's just not a good relationship. Like, that's just not. That concept is toxic in any other area. So it has to apply to family as well.
Yeah.
Well, biological family, because we've established that friends and family is really one and the same. And you can pick both.
So what is the cutoff point? The cutoff point is when it gets to a point where it is now hurting you to help someone else.
Mm-hmm. Or putting you in direct danger. Because this is the thing. Yeah. If me helping you puts me in direct danger, I will no longer be able to help anybody. Mm-hmm. Which goes against who I am. If you're coming to me for help, meaning I'm the epitome of help in the situation, but me helping you takes away my ability to help, then am I really helping? It's kind of like the whole give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. Yeah. We need to stay in that teach a man the fish position, regardless of who's approaching us. And if you're terribly affecting my ability to help, this ain't no good relationship right here. Yeah. And something I do appreciate realizing now, you can cut people off in subcategories. Like, I used to think you had to cut people off as a whole, but like I said, my sister, like, I cut you off in your ability to come get patched up by me. We can talk about anything else. We can do everything else, but this area here, you're done. Mm-hmm. So that's another takeaway.
So, Elsie, I hope I'm saying that right. She said, yes, I had to make the decision to cut my own mama off. It was hard, but it was necessary. Kathy Wright said, right. Elsie also said, the cutoff point is when allowing family members to continue in their toxicity, which will eventually destroy my immediate family.
I can barely say it, but I love it.
Toxicity.
Yes, I love that word.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I think that's that's the biggest takeaway is everybody falls into the same category and everybody is subject to being cut off.
Everybody get it. He gonna be the first one to get cut off.
Everybody got it.
Everybody get it, bro. And it really helps with your life. Like, you're not now burdened with, oh my God, my sister may call one day, and what if I can't help her? Like, they realize give us a space to decide to feel bad about not being able to help, but then we can only think of toxic traits that they've given us our whole lives. Right. Like, you're not entitled to me like that. Mm-hmm. That's wild. That's wild, man.
It is.
Then we got another comment.
Elsie's okay. She's put LOL. It's pronounced
toxicity.
No, Elise.
Oh, Elise.
Ooh, I don't know. I hope I'm saying that right, girl. I'm sorry.
We do apologize for mispronouncing.
Elise. Terrell Moses said, "When family expect you to choose them over your relationship or marriage."
Can we talk about that for a second?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
I've had that issue.
And I don't. So,
at the end of the day, I'm still your mama.
So listen. Now, listen. By no means, I love my mother to death because we have a wonderful relationship now. However, It was not always like that. So let me take you back to 73 before I ever... No, I'm playing. So back in the day, prior to me coming to my realization, being able to effectively explain all this to my mother and we get on a good term, there was a time where my mom was so overprotective, she thought that she came before my wife. And I had to have a conversation with her to let her know that that's not how this works. And she actually used the statement, well, I'm your mom, I'm always going to be there. And I was like, no. Biblically speaking, when I get married, I leave my family and I cleave to my wife. So my wife is always going to be there. You're just always going to be my mother, which means the person that gave birth to me. And once we cleared that up, we good. But I really don't blame her because she got that from her mother. And her mother got that from her mother. Like, those toxic statements were passed down. And until somebody stop and be like, look, that really don't make sense because what you doing ain't making sense for my life. And if you really wanted to help me, we would understand that don't make sense. So I've dealt with my mother feeling as though because I'm your mom, what I say should trump your current family. And I don't blame her because I know where it came from. And I'm glad that she understood when we had that conversation that you need to step down. Your crown has been passed to the wife, ma'am. And you have to accept that.
Yeah. Elise, I think I'm saying that right. My grandmother was an... I don't know how to say that word.
Was what?
And somebody come over here and read this.
My grandmother was a intricate part in destroying my parents' marriage. So because it was done to her, she feels because she's my mother, she should allow her to do the same in my marriage. Facts!
She said, nah, sis.
Facts! Like, that also happened with my in-laws as well. And that's another conversation your boy had to have. I had to let him know, hey, I'm the husband, XYZ. You can fall in line as the mother or grandparents and all that, and we can all be cool. But if not, it's not going to work like that. Like, it takes somebody bold enough to sit down with your spouse and be like, look, the world perpetuates the idea that when you get married, you're merging two families. That's not what's happening. When you get married, you're creating one family. If those families don't do what they need to be a part of this family we just created, you don't have ownership rights to this.
Yeah.
This is a family on its own. This family stands on its own feet.
And we're going to keep rocking till the wheels fall.
Till the wheels fall off. Or until we get flying cars and don't need no wheel. What's up? Believe that. Shoot.
2030.
Believe that.
2030.
But we good though, you know?
Terrell Moses said, you have to stop telling your family every time you have a disagreement with your significant other. Keep it in the house.
Baby.
Kathy Wright said, pass that crown.
No, let me get there. I should have went up to my mom like, man, I'm so sorry.
Monique, have you struggled with that? You know it was coming for you, yo.
Bro, what do you want me to say?
Don't get that crown off their head, son. She is not Queen Elizabeth no more.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to talk about your experience, yo. Talk about it, son.
Bro, I said, come on, bro. There's a way to put it out there without...
I
just did.
I know, you good
I
at
just
that.
had my mama, my grandma, her in-laws, everybody get it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody deals with this in some way, form, or fashion because of how we were raised. So I'm not blaming them. I'm just letting them know that's not this. And at some point, somebody got to stop this toxicity. Let's go. Use it right.
You did.
Got to stop it, bro.
So for me, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom, I'm the oldest. I felt like being the oldest, I felt obligated to help my mom with whatever she needed. Growing up, until this day, not so much, but I just felt like I needed to be there for her. And so it's it's been a struggle.
That ain't what we're talking about, though. We're talking about...
Relationship, yes. Sorry, I got off top. Yeah.
I'm trying to get
right, she's trying to get out of here real quick. Like, we
Let's get it.
Yes. My mother she got in between every single relationship I've ever had.
Now, let's to make it easier for you to talk about, let's be clear, your mother has since evolved from that point. So now that she's evolved,
me and my mother are on good terms.
It's okay to talk about the past.
Yeah,
we
talk
ain't there
about
no more.
Yes, okay. Mama, if you're watching this, I love you.
I don't want to talk about it.
It happened.
Look, me and my mama good now, but let's take it back a couple times. Shoot.
Okay, so
was there ever a point where your mom wanted you to choose her over me over the course of our relationship? Or did you kind
and by choose her, he don't mean like be with her, but follow her ideals, her concepts, her precepts, everything in regards to how you should be. She wanted you to do what she wanted you to do as opposed to what you and him may have decided on doing.
Yes.
Was there a point where you were more inclined to go with what she wanted versus what you and I had decided upon?
Yeah.
And that was just because I'm your mom.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what got you to the point where you finally decided, hey, look, this can't go on like this for too much longer. At some point, it has to be about me and you versus what you want me to do, Mom. How did you reach that point? Selena, if you're watching, we love you.
We love you. We ain't got nothing against you, but we gotta talk about it.
I lost my train of thought. Shoot. I noticed that when it started getting in between my happiness. For the longest time, I would push back what I wanted and my happiness to please my mother. Mm-hmm. And me and you, thank God for you, because we've had numerous discussions to where it just helped me realize, like, what am I going to do what makes me happy for once? So.
That's why Swanna got divorced the first time. Because her grandparents, grandpa, grandma, we love you. We ain't got nothing against you right now, but it happened. Her grandparents was like I was basically married to them. Like Swanna would go home and like they'll say he should be doing this, you should be doing that, and she'll come. My grandma said, and it's like, but bruh, we got married to each other. We gonna get that together. Just hold on. And it got to the point to where I was overwhelmed because I was married to 3 people and like we divorced because of that. But when we got back married this time, I went up there. I was like, look. You cool, but this is a family by itself. Like, me and Swanee have our own family. My mom, her grandparents, your mom, we can all be cool. But y'all cannot dictate what we got going on. Like, unless I'm down here beating on her, you really ain't got nothing going on with down here.
Yeah.
And I don't beat on her, so, you know. But and once again, it's one of them things where you don't naturally know that you're in a mold until you break it. Like, I didn't know that these ideals are toxic to my relationship. I didn't know that I'm obligated to my mama based on manipulation and dictatorship. Like, I had to sit down one day and realize, where's all the confusion coming from?
Yeah.
And it's because I'm trying to live 2 different lives. Mm-hmm. No, it's too much. Everybody good now, though. We good.
Yeah. Terrell Moses says, stay away from if it was me. Wait.
Oh, yeah. If it was me, I would have.
No, it says stay away from it was me type of people.
Yeah,
if it was me type of people.
Oh.
If it was me?
You read that from way back.
I did not just feel it.
He said, you could be on Misery Island by yourself.
Correct.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, it's hard. But I'll tell you, once you keep practicing it, it'll be like, oh, you are my mother. Hey, girl. Like, you get that.
Yeah.
And it's not disrespectful. It's just, it requires people to be human. Like, treat me how you want to be treated. Like, all these golden rules that we have, we can't throw them away because you family. Like, right. You are not God. They apply to you too. It's crazy.
So what you're saying is, you would choose me.
Choose me.
Yes, sir.
Love me.
Get that crown.
Get that crown. Bring it back to the silk next time you come.
So what are you going to do to help be a part of the solution moving forward?
Well, I feel like I'm still learning. Okay. I plan to just remember to put everybody up underneath that same umbrella.
There you go. If you get wet, you too far out there. That ain't got nothing to do with me. This is the umbrella right here. I'm not leaning it no way for nobody. If you get wet, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
It's on you, yo. Get in when you fit in.
Right.
Are you also going to speak with those who you consider yourself to be obligated to, and also let them know, hey, this is my umbrella, and you are required, if you want this relationship, you are required to fit under this umbrella, as I would under your umbrella as well. And if you don't fit under this umbrella, if you get wet, then you are subject to get cut off as much as anybody else who isn't of this bloodline would.
Yeah.
So is that also a conversation you see yourself having with your family as well? Or those that you feel like, it may come to that?
It's gonna be a hard one, but yes.
But you will.
And that's okay, because you got the information.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's also important to let people know, hey, like, as long as you keep going this way, I'm not here for it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, this isn't the kind of energy that I want or that is conducive to what I want with my life moving forward. And if you decide you don't want to change, that's fine. But I can also decide that I don't want to be here for it either.
That's what a lot of people miss. They understand the point of, if you don't decide to change, that's fine. They miss the point where we say, but I also have the decision to choose not to deal with you. They only see, well, you should accept me or you should let me do you like this. Like, they literally forget that I can decide to not.
Right.
And I think, but that's also for people who allow it to go on, like who allow themselves to be mistreated out of obligation.
Yeah. Ooh,
they don't realize that they have that decision.
I don't have to put up with it.
Man.
Yeah, you're right.
I
don't have to put up with it. And the day you realize that, like, it's free. Like, you free yourself from the bondage of being abused. And it's like, dang, like, I know that they're deciding to do me like this, so I just gotta take it. But it's like, oh, I can just walk away.
Is that's simple?
Right. I didn't think it's that easy.
I can just walk away.
It is that easy, bro.
And that freeing mindset only comes when you remove statements like blood is thicker than water. You can choose your friends, but not your family. I'm your mom. I'm your uncle. When you remove that stuff, you realize I can literally turn around and walk away from you.
Yeah.
What I really like about you is how you will put out a standard, but you always make sure they realize that I have to comply to this same standard. Like when you was like, this is my umbrella, if you don't fit up on it, like, you just gonna get wet. And I also have to fit under your umbrella, or I understand I'm gonna get wet as well.
Absolutely.
If the world understood that as a whole, a lot of problems that we have would not be problems, because most of the time the only thing we see is, this is my umbrella, and if you don't fall up on it, that's just you. It's my way or no way. Man, you must forgot. I got you know. You know they stop selling over their clothes and yours. Shoot.
We both got them,
We both got these things. But those statements make people believe that this is the last umbrella in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not. It is not. Man, matter of fact, I got a punch up. What's up? Now I can go wherever I want to go.
All right.
Shoot.
So you're also going to start exercising your right to decide to leave as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I'm moving in the right direction.
Of course.
Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
It's a hard pill to swallow, but once you get it down, you'll be good.
Is there anything that you feel like you would need to do to help, I guess, become the solution to the problem, or help promote the solution to the problem outside of our talk about sessions?
Whenever I'm talking to people, because I talk to people like often with these same problems that have that sense of obligation, that's the first thing I do. I tear down that obligation. Like this one lady I was talking to about her husband. Like he basically just doing what the freak he want to do. And I'm like, hey, you do understand that as long as he's not under this umbrella, you don't have to do these things. She was like, oh, freak you mean? Oh, like XYZ needs to line up with 1, 2, 3. If they don't, you don't have to do that. Like people don't realize you have a umbrella too. Like we spend so much time trying to get up on the other people, like step back and you can open your own. And if they don't want to get up under yours, that's fine. It is okay. But people realize that their world is ending because this umbrella don't have room for them. Like, bro, step back. You got your own. Who there?
Alabama number.
Oh, I caught him back. But yeah, I mean, this is my first thing I do. I see what titles we talking with, whether we did it with mother and father, child and mom, and I rip those titles apart. Like I even tell mothers all the time, like just because they're your child, that don't mean like you can't treat them any type of way. Like I rip that off. That's my first band-aid to tear in the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always done my hardest to try, like when I'm having conversations with people who are dealing with, issues with their family or people that they feel obligated to. I tell them all the time, like, you don't have to deal with that if you don't want to. But because of this concept has been perpetuated for so long, it's hard for them to swallow that pill. Like, it's hard for them to accept that as, man, nigga, get out of here.
Right.
Like,
That's my mom.
like, can we be serious now? Yeah. Like, no, I am serious. You don't have to. So, I mean, I'll continue to push that forward, and hopefully, eventually, people will come to the. But you know what the thing is, I've experienced telling somebody something and them rejecting it initially, but then once they end up going through the experience again, but now under the lens of what it is that I told them, they come back and they're like, "Yo, you was on to something."
But by then, I don't want
it no more, yo. Like, I don't want it anymore.
I'm glad it worked, but forget
it, yo. Forget it. So
yeah, that's a story of my life. Everything because these concepts, they're past concepts, but because of the society we live in, they seem futuristic. Mm-hmm. So that's why they have to go out and do it, and then come back and it's like, bro, you could have avoided all of that. Son.
Could have.
Like me and Swanee would have been still married the first time if I knew this then. Like we would have been almost 10 years in our marriage, but because I didn't know, we divorced. I went off and got with somebody else. She went off and got with somebody else, and just life was just doing this. It was crazy, man.
Well, do we have any more comments?
Kathy Wright said exactly. That's it.
All right. Well, this has been a productive conversation. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and who commented and asked questions and was just a part of the conversation. Catch us next week for another interesting topic. Throughout the week, Adrian is going to post what our next topic will be. Same time, same place. Right now, we're going to say goodbye to our future selves. All right. One day we'll look back on this and wonder why we were ever like this in the first place. But on that note, got to holler at you.
VERB, VERB out.